Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video, we're going to be discussing an answer to a question that I've gotten asked at least 1,000 times since I've uploaded YouTube videos and discussed soldering, and that is, what equipment do I use and what consumables do I use? Is there any packages that I recommend? Well, after doing extensive research firsthand myself, because I use my soldering equipment literally every day, I went and of course I've done what many of you have done. I've bought Weller, I've bought American Beauty, I've bought American distributed Heiko, and to be quite honest, I've never been that impressed. Therefore, I wanted to put together my own soldering packages that I feel will cover the entire gamut, and actually I only have two. I have one for general use, more towards the casual end user, once again with all professional components, and that will give you maximum durability, and again give you what I feel is the most complete soldering packages on the market. You guys will definitely be the judge there. So let's cover exactly what we're working with. Once again, I've dealt with Weller, I've dealt with Heiko, I've dealt with American Beauty and the typical US distribution circuits, and I've just never been that impressed with the way the irons were developed. Simple things like cords were never made up to the standard as far as for flexibility, especially when you're soldering in tight areas. You definitely want a really flexible cord, and on top of that, the duration that the irons last, I just was not that impressed with. The parts for certain ones were very expensive, and I wanted to make it, again, as simple to the end user as possible. I started contacting different vendors, and I actually had a vendor contact me in Asia, and the company's name was Yihua. They wanted me to test some of their equipment. I decided to test one of their soldering stations, and now I've been using it for the last 5 months, and I gotta be honest, I love the unit. It's amazing. I then decided to test just a soldering iron that they sell, and I discussed exactly what I was looking to do. They were very, very helpful, and therefore I put together this kit here, formulated around my actual consumables. So let's discuss now what makes this unit unique. Okay. First of all, Yihua is an Asian manufacturer. Many of you already know that 98% of our manufacturing with electronics all comes from Asia. So it's not a surprise that they really truly understand what kind of quality should be expected with soldering equipment. That being said as well, I wanted to make sure that the units did come with a very easy to understand instruction manual. Now again, this is a very basic kit, the 908 Plus model, but you still want to have an instruction manual that you can actually read. And again, it may have some areas that are a little rough, but very, very few. And again, this actual instruction manual is not that big because it doesn't have to be. This iron is very simple. Give you an idea of the specs of the unit. It's rated to 200 to 480 degrees Celsius as far as its adjustable temperature range. And for my US guys, that breaks down to 392 degrees Fahrenheit up to 896 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, you'll be able to use virtually any consumable in the market. Unit supports 110 volt in. It can also support 220 to 240, but it will be a special order unit due to the fact, again, these are generally made to order. So if you guys are international running 220 and you'd like to buy an iron, just let me know. I can special order them and we can get them in. Unit is rated at 65 watts, which for general applications is more than enough. And again, many of you have done pricing at the wattage level that is. I mean, it usually goes up to 100 watts, some are like 30, and the 65 watt option I feel really gives you a vast array of temperature, and again, it lets the iron heat up very quickly. These irons I have found usually heat up in between 25 to 30 seconds, so you guys are pretty much set to go. Okay, so we'll put this down. Let's talk now about what makes the package unique as far as what's included, because many of you already know at the price range of most of these type of irons and this kind of quality level, you're looking anywhere between $40 to $70 just for the iron. Okay, then you have to drop, many of you already realize this afterwards, you have to drop money on the solder, money on the flux, all the accessories you're going to require. Everything with this kit you will find you will at one point or another use, I guarantee it, especially as you assemble more, and you will not need to buy anything else. The quality is exceptional because I've tested it all myself. That being said, let's start with our flux and solder for that matter. Of course, we're using Kester because as far as I'm concerned, Kester manufactures the #1 consumables for soldering in the industry. And the flux that I recommend, I've said this in previous videos, is Kester 186 RMA flux. It is a no clean flux. You guys will get a 2-ounce micro bottle with this. And when I say micro bottle, it comes with the micro application tip. So you can apply 1 drop to 2 drops at a time for whatever application you're doing. 2 ounces will easily last a year. Okay. As far as making that complete to round out the flux, I am including 1.2 ounces of flux remover. Now, this is a no clean flux. However, I guarantee you, if you ever get flux on anything, you will be thankful you have this, because flux is a pain, and that's just putting it mildly, to remove. It's very sticky. Many of you figure that out afterwards. Most of the flux remover on the market, you've done pricing on, and as you guys do research on it, first of all, it's not cheap. We know that. Second of all, it comes in aerosol cans, most of them. They give you the gimmick of a little brush. I never found that to be really required for most applications, especially the aerosol. You will easily use up between 60 to 65% of product just by spraying it. Because again, then you have to figure in your shop in a confined environment when you guys are working on a desk platform, if you're working in your house or in your garage, wherever it may be, that aerosol is going to fill up that area. I hated that application method, and honestly, the 1 drop bottle I found works really, really well. These are hard plastic bottles, got the screw-on cap, and you can apply 1 to 2 drops, and believe me, again, at 1.2 ounces, this will easily last a year. Okay, you're not wasting anything, and again, the consumable will definitely round out itself when we work with the actual flux. Or for general cleaning in general, I mean, there are certain areas that you'll want to test this on, but I can tell you right now, it removes a lot of different things. Just test it, of course, on a sample piece of material before you apply it, but it's an amazing cleaner. As far as our solder, rosin core number 44 Kester, again, it is a leaded solder. I prefer leaded solder. These are 0.35 ounce bottles. You get 2 of them. That equivalates to about 20 foot of actual solder. Okay, very, very simple. Again, screw on cap, pull it out, you're ready to go. Now this accessory, where I've gotten asked about this before, I hate the fact that every iron kit I've ever seen that comes with a sponge never comes with a water bottle. I myself hate having to get up and re-wet my sponge and then go back down, especially when you're surrounded by a lot of different things you're working on and you have to lose train of thought. So what I did is included a 2-ounce water bottle, because again, this is super easy to have on your desk, and just once again use it to wet your sponge with your soldering iron. Just logic, but again, it's one of those pet peeves of mine that I like to have everything in front of me so I do not have to get up like many of you once you start. Next set of accessories, steel tweezers. In this package, you're going to get 5. I don't know what applications you guys will be doing. Many of you may just be doing general soldering, but it's nice to have a set of tweezers that you will need at one point or another, believe me. And these do have the tip protectors on them. And you can see we've got our fine tips. These are needle tip. And again, these are steel, guys. These are really, really well made. And again, depending on what you're actually using, you've got your angled ends, you've got your wide tips, you've got a variation of 5 of these. And I guarantee you at one point or another, when you're dealing with micro connectors, DB9, small connectors like that for your system, or just general assembly, these will be nice to have. Again, nice sealed package, and you're set to go there. Next accessory, which I feel is mandatory with any soldering package, and for some reason you always have to buy these from other manufacturers individually, and it sucks. These are Yihua's Pro soldering tips. You can see what these look like right here. Okay, these units, you've got all 10. Typically in this iron package, if you do source it out online, you'll find that usually they give you like 5. I hate that. You need to have all the tips available, because many of you guys who are already doing soldering realize how important having the right tip for the right job is. This unit, I've put every tip available so that whatever job it may be, you've got it. On top of the fact, in the back of the manual, which I find I really like this, a lot of the higher end iron companies do this, you've got your guide for what tip you're using, and you can also make notes for what tip you're going to use. I highly recommend doing that for whatever job you're working with. It makes things much easier. There you go. I hope you can see that on the camera. So overall, you've got your 10 tips. Next important accessory, your soldering tip cleaner. And of course, I'm talking about the brass sponge. This works exceptionally well. I actually like using this along with triple O steel wool as a polishing method very lightly, and I find my tips have lasted forever. I'm really, really impressed with Yihua's tips, and that's just putting it mildly. I know you guys will be as well. Next accessory that I feel is absolutely mandatory is desoldering braid. Many of you don't even know what this is. For those of you that do, you realize how important it is to have. Desoldering braid allows you, if you do apply too much solder to a connection, this braid is actually soaked in flux, and it's just copper. It's a copper type, it's more or less minus the tin on braided copper. It's just braided copper with flux applied to it. You simply apply this over the connection that has too much solder, heat it with the iron, and it will absorb the solder right into the braid. So again, if you do make a mistake, you're prepared because of course you have the desoldering braid. Okay, if you guys are doing SMD work, you know this is a requirement. So again, anything with surface where we're doing any type of rework, desoldering braid is a must. Of course, it's included with the kit. The next accessory, this is one I use literally every day. You can see these are stainless. Okay, these are flush cutters and they're angled. See that angle right there? They are also spring loaded. Okay, if you guys are trying to skin leads or you're trying to keep the connectors to where they're close so you're not having 40 feet of extra cable going and have to shrink wrap because then your cable casing is missing and you're butchering basically the cable, these are the only thing that's going to skin short leads. You naturally score the actual casing of the leads you're trying to strip, and as you score the casing and you'll find the right pressure, I definitely recommend practicing because these are very sharp. You just lift and these will easily skin. They also will flush cut any wire if you want to cut it on an angle, if you want to cut it flat. These are a gem to have, and I cannot emphasize enough when you're dealing with electronics with tight wiring, everything from zip tie removal, these work amazing and of course are included in the kit. Next accessory tool, repair assistive tools. These right here, I can tell you at one point or another you will use them. Many of you guys may be saying, well, Jesus, this is a lot of stuff with this kit. There is, because I know for a fact the more connectors you work on, and again, there's no way to know exactly what connectors you'll be working on, at one point or another you will require a special tool, whether it be a pick, whether it be an actual fork holder. You can see right there, you've got scrapers, and of course these are double-sided. You also have got, and I love this myself, is the brass brush actual tool, and it's also double-sided. Now the brass brush tool, if you're using this with your actual flux remover, will remove virtually anything very, very quickly. Nylon is okay, but under some circumstances, it's really not that strong. It just doesn't have that mild abrasiveness you need to really get a clean connection. These tools are all metal, and they do have injection molded handles, so they're very, very solid. In the back of the unit, you can see you got your chip holder, ripping bar remover, hook, fork, needle, scraper, knife, and brush. And honestly, these are just general applications. You guys are going to find many uses for these. I've used them over and over and over again, and again, I just love these tools. So again, they are included with the actual kit. Now let's cover the main tool, the iron itself. Very simple. The 908 Plus, let's just move everything right there, make sure everything is sitting there. The 908 Plus is very, very simple. You can see the unit is, of course, ESD safe. You've got your rotary knob to adjust your temperature. You've got your heater LED to let you know when the unit is on. Of course, your on and off switch. Your temperature rating is right up here. What I love about this unit is the simplicity. For the guys that aren't using, of course, an iron every single day and don't want to drop, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, not that you couldn't use this every day, because again, it is a very nice unit, very high quality. The cable, the power cord is all silicone. Okay, very, very, very soft, as well as the iron cable. Okay, so when you guys are working, no one appreciates having silicone wiring as much as when you're using it constantly to get in tight areas. This makes this unit super easy to work with. As far as the temperature control, I do have my Fluke 179 right here. And again, she does measure temperature, and I can tell you these units are within a couple degrees all the time, whether it be my high-end soldering station or they're at one of their basic irons. They're always right where they need to be. But again, you can see just how simple this unit is. Turn her on, set your temperature, and you're basically set to go. As far as the iron, You can see you've got your protective cover over your tip. You lift it off. I recommend saving this as well. You lift it off. If you guys have to change your tip, you simply unscrew the actual barrel of the iron. Now, if you look over here on the iron, let's see, you can see the flat spot on it. I recommend using a nice set of crescent wrenches. Just set the crescent wrench and lightly tighten this. And I recommend tightening it, again, not too tight. You're not trying to, use excessive amount of torque. You just want to snug it up. As the unit heats over time, of course, the barrel will become loose. They all do because of the heat. You just naturally tighten it up. I recommend doing it maybe every second or third use, and you're set. You got a beautiful silicone handle here, nylon right here where it actually cups into the actual soldering station or soldering holder. We'll cover that in a minute. And again, the iron itself, very, very simple. And again, you've got that super, super flexible silicone wire right here. So again, high temperature rated silicone and maximum flexibility. I love it. Coming over here, you got a beautiful soldering iron holder. Of course, your sponge. Of course, you got your water bottle to go with that. Everything you possibly could use. Actually, let's put our cover back on, like I recommended for you guys to do. Save this, of course. Put that on when it's not in use, and you're good right there. And you can see now, without a doubt, this is the most complete set. And as far as the price, I've already discussed prices with you guys. Many of you have already priced a lot of different soldering equipment. This kit is being sold with shipping for $75. Okay, if you break down just your consumables and the actual value of them, you're going to find that this kit is amazing. There's literally nothing like this as far as being as complete and giving you the options, once again, in a more of a hobbyist-based iron in itself. But that being said, it can easily cross over into full-scale production if that's where you want to begin at. However, I do have a soldering station because many of you have asked for that, and that is on my next list as far as doing the video for it. That will come up shortly. But again, as far as showing you exactly what I recommend, guys, this is essentially what you're going to require. Whether you buy this iron or not, the accessories at one point or another you're going to need. The more you work in electronics, these are tools that will pay for themselves time and time again. I cannot emphasize that. So to say thank you to all my subscribers, this exact kit I will be giving away, one of them. And all I ask is that you leave a comment. Preferably, of course, I ask all of you to subscribe if you're not subscribed, and just leave a comment, tell me you want to be entered, and next month we'll do the drawing. And of course, someone's going to get all this to have themselves be set up, because once again, that's the least I can do to say thank you for all your support. You guys have been wonderful. So again, if you guys do have any questions, that's another good point. Due to the fact that I am the distributor, and of course, I am supplying the parts for these units. You can buy different parts to these. So if you need more tips or any specific component, get with me. I can, of course, contact Yihua and get you basically whatever you need. But due to the fact that naturally I'm using this equipment all the time, I feel that my support is more imperative because I use it all the time, and most of the time I will know more than you, in the sense that if you do require a part or you have a simple question, we can get with once again myself or get with one of their engineers to make sure that that question's answered, so you guys know exactly where you're going. So again, if you guys have questions, please message me direct at storm2313@gmail.com. You can ask questions, of course, request quotes, or contact me through my eBay store, eDealers Direct. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave comments and let me know who wants to be entered in the contest to actually take the drawing for the unit. And I thank you all for your support. Take care.